Hello, good evening to all viewers of Host of Fear. How are you? Have you been sleeping well at night? For today's story, we have a terrifying tale about a haunted station in São Paulo that takes place in the early 2000s. Now I want you to grab your best headphones, turn off the lights, and follow another terrifying story from the most haunted channel on YouTube. This story begins during a panic inside a train station in São Paulo. On a Friday the 13th in the year 2000, an employee named Antônio is invited to work as a night security guard in an abandoned train station, dark, with all the doors locked and bloodstains covering the walls. It was an old station, more than 105 years old. It was inaugurated in 1895 and used to be the main railway station, with a bus terminal beside it. But in 1962, a terrible train accident happened at that station. The train tried to stop, but the brakes failed, and what followed was horrifying. Many people were injured, many were badly wounded, and several people died. The employee entered the station and immediately noticed how poorly illuminated the place was. The station was dark, and it was almost impossible to see anything clearly because the place felt haunted. But Antônio, being curious, noticed something bloody on the ground, maybe left from the accident. Antônio began hearing several voices and screams that sounded like the passengers who died there. And now their spirits wander through the station, trying to attack the security guard. But the problem was that when the clock reached 3 a.m., several spirits and haunted entities would appear inside the station. Antônio, however, wanted to prove that he was the toughest night guard alive. At 12:45 a.m., Antônio went to the bathroom and discovered that the sink was overflowing with blood. And written on the mirror was the message, "What are you doing here? Leave this place now." It was as if someone had written the warning to make Antônio leave the station immediately. Around 1:05 a.m., Antônio punched the mirror. And on top of the toilet tank, there was a flashlight with infinite batteries. He followed the path and found a room, but then he noticed bloodstains spread across the floor. He entered without paying attention to the trail and found a paper containing binary code. And suddenly, a door slowly opened, although not enough for someone to pass through it. At 1:50 a.m., some operator tried to contact Antônio, who explained that strange things were happening inside the place. At 2:20 a.m., Antônio walked toward a light beside the platform and found a locked box thrown in the middle of the train tracks. He picked up the box and placed it back where it belonged. The employee was becoming more and more terrified. And finally, at exactly 3 a.m., Antônio encountered the ghost of a 15-year-old girl who had died in the accident. She wore a pink shirt, black leggings, and white shoes. It looked as if she were desperately screaming for help. All those spirits trapped inside the station seemed to be begging the security guard for help. After everything that happened, the guard found a stopped and derailed train. What made the scene even more disturbing was a red liquid running along the bottom of the train. Inside it were 3 bodies: the train engineer, a female passenger, and an unidentified man. But when Antônio tried to get a closer look and opened the train door, he realized the inside was completely covered in blood. The security guard understood exactly what had happened. The train was being controlled by the spirit of the dead engineer, and Antônio desperately wanted to escape that place. His only mission now was to find an exit and survive. If he failed, he would be captured by the possessed train controlled by the spirit of its engineer. But after completing his work, Antônio looked back and saw that the derailed train had appeared once again inside the station. No one knows the true ending of this story, and nobody knows what happened to that employee. A possessed train, spirits haunting the station, and a nightmare that may still remain inside those abandoned tracks.